Hello, everybody. Ken Hertz here. This is the Joy of Mixing. We are here on the what will be the last episode of my Mixing in the Box series. Here, we have our song "Elizabeth and Me" inside the DAW Luna. So, what do we have here? Well, we're down to automation, which is the kind of the tail end of the process for me. We will go ahead. I'll show you what I did automation-wise in this particular song. And then when we get through the automation, I'll show you the mix down. And then I'm actually going to, once this song has been mixed down to the computer, I'll go ahead and pull it up in Logic Pro and do my finalization, my pseudo mastering, if you will, at that point. But let's go ahead and take a look at what we have here for automation. And we don't have a whole lot really going on in this song. There's a couple key spots I'll point out here, but let's go ahead first and take a look at the drum bus. We have the drums coming up just a hair here in the chorus. Looks like in the verse we're at 0.3 dB, and then we jump up to 0.18 dB in the chorus. So, nothing crazy going on there. Just a small little bump of the drum kit where it got a little bit loud. So that's what's happening there. We have the shaker, which let me bring this over here, let you listen. So with the shaker, we're in the solo part here. So I actually brought the shaker down about 5 dB or so. And I'm going to hit play just so you can kind of hear the difference here. So yeah, just a subtle kind of drop off there of the shaker. We didn't, nothing too crazy, just it was a little bit loud there in the solo, so I had to crank her down a little bit. Let's go ahead and take a look at the lead vocal here. And what do we have going on with the lead vocal? Well, I did some kind of vocal riding throughout this track here, and I'm going to take a second. You can see here at the end where I kind of faded it off as we were coming to the end of the song. But I'm going to go ahead, let's expand this. And we come in here and kind of come in nice and close. And what we're going to do is I want to highlight this here, and we will remove it. And so what do we have? Well, for automation, you can see we have our little kind of menu over here. And automation, well, first we have volume, so we can automate volume, we can do some muting, we can do some panning. I'll keep it on volume for now. And then we have this clips here. This takes you back to the actual track. It's where you can come through and edit this track. So we'll go back to volume. You can automate the tape plugin. You can automate any plugin on your track that you want to automate. It's all available for you. You can really do a lot. Maybe I'll do a separate video at one point just on automation alone, because there's a lot you can do here. So, but for now, let's go ahead and just stick with our lead vocal track here. And what we have is we have read. So what read will do is the fader will just follow along with the automation that has already been written on the track. So over here, our fader is just going to go ahead and follow along on this automation here. So that's read. Then we also have touch. This is the one that I will probably be using the most when I mix. I tend to use touch. And with touch, you can grab your fader here, and as you raise it up, if you let it go, it'll go back down to where it is already set in the mix here. Like we'll have our lead vocal balanced out, and if we grab the fader, we move it up, it'll want to come back down to where it was balanced out. If we pull it down, it'll want to slide back up to where it was balanced out. So I use touch mostly when I'm doing vocal rides and stuff. Latch will, wherever you set the fader, it'll stay there and just maintain that until you move it again. So I don't use latch very much, hardly at all. And trim I don't use, so we won't go too much into that. Let's go ahead, leave it on read. Actually, I'm going to put it on touch. And just for an example here, I'm going to play this little section of vocal here, just the verse and then the first part of the chorus here. And you'll see as I move the fader, you'll see it'll start to draw a red line on the track here, letting us know that it's drawing in the automation. And so I'm going to go ahead and just give you a little example. I'll hit play. Elizabeth and me, we sit together quietly. She gets up to walk away, yeah, she abandons me. She didn't think I heard her as she got up to walk away. She says you never listen to a word I have to say, but I don't even know her now. So you can see just kind of riding along on the vocal there, and as soon as I let go of the fader, it would fall back down to the predetermined point, you know, that we've already set in our balance in the mix. So really like this, really like touch. I use it a lot. Let's go ahead and put it back on read, and I'm actually going to erase this here and just stick with my original automation there. So that's a little rundown on automation, how it works. Like I said, maybe sometime later I'll do a whole video on just automation, because there's a lot you can do with that in Luna. So that would be our vocal track, and let's see here, I think that will about do it. I did in this epi sprinkle here, there's kind of a lot that goes on behind the scenes, and one of the things I did behind the scenes, you know, it's not always just, you know, pick this plugin and oh, it's great and it works every time and it's the first plugin I chose and it always works and it's good. There's a lot that goes on kind of behind the scenes. I didn't show you guys a lot of what goes on behind the scenes because I didn't want to bore you too much with decision making and things like that. But one of the decisions I did make that you didn't get to see was this epi sprinkle here was quite loud in these first three choruses, and then in the end here it kind of sat nice in the mix. So what I did was I went through and actually turned the clip gain down on these three sections here, and you can do that by just going, and you can see my little thing here, my little almost like a fader, and if you just highlight that, we're at 5 dB, and you can, you know, just kind of change it however you want. This would have been the original. You can see it's quite larger than the end there. So I just came in, clip gained that down. Didn't do any automation here, just clip gained it down 5 dB, and then you can see they're pretty much all now fairly the same, and it sounded pretty good in the mix, so I went with it. We have the verse guitar here. And yeah, with the verse guitar, again, just kind of doing a little bit of rides here and there where I thought it was kind of not sticking out in the mix as much as I would have hoped. So just kind of giving it a few little bumps in volume here. And it sounded pretty nice. And I think that is it for automation on this particular song. So what do we do now that we have our automation written in the track? Well, we are going to go ahead, and I'm not going to actually do it because it'll just take a while, but when we're ready to mix the song down in Luna, what you'll do is you'll go to mix down up here. There's a couple different screens. You have your mix workflow here, you have your edit workflow, a MIDI workflow, and a recording workflow. So I'm going to stick to the mix workflow here, and we have this mix down button. So what you'll do is you'll hit this button here, and it'll give you a couple settings and stuff. You can, of course, we're going to be going out the mains here because we want the entire song, all the tracks going out. We're going to include MIDI file for tempo. We're not going to click on that. We don't want to bypass any of our effects. We want our tracks to come out stereo. We're not going to preserve any mono tracks. We're not doing a real-time mix down because then most of the times I won't do a real-time mix down. I'll just let it mix down and I won't listen to it as it's doing that. Of course, where we're going to save it to, and then what file type we're going to save as. This is going to be an AIFF is what I sent it out to the computer as. 48K, same sample rate as our song here at 24 bits. So we'd have all that set up the way we wanted it. We would hit mix down and it would mix the song down. So from that point on, it would be mixed down into the computer, and then I'm going to swap over to Logic, where I will have the song out now into Logic Pro, and I'll go ahead and add my finishing touches or my pseudo mastering to this particular song. So stay tuned. I'll be back in a second. Okay, so we're in Logic Pro, and a couple reasons why I like Logic Pro. First off, there are plugins in here that I like to use, especially for this mastering. I don't consider myself to be a mastering engineer, and I don't want to consider this to be mastering. This is just kind of my process to get the song to be competitive against, songs on Spotify or songs on iTunes, or, even if you want to put this song in a playlist, this is just my kind of way of getting the song to compete level-wise, and of course make sure that it sounds good, that it's going to translate well. All that stuff kind of rolls into this, but I don't want to say, that I don't consider myself to be a mastering engineer. I would actually recommend, if you were going to mix a song, to maybe have a mastering engineer go over the song, just because it's a different set of ears and it's a different perspective, and I do think it's a good thing. It's just for this particular song and for what we're doing here on YouTube, just to kind of show you what you can do if you don't have the budget for a mastering engineer, or if you just choose to maybe do this yourself. That these are the steps I take to kind of make this song compete with other songs that are out there. So what do we do here? Well, let's go ahead and pull up our first plugin. Oh, and by the way, so another reason why I'm in Logic is I like how Logic has this just like little cutoff here at the end, this little bar here, this grayed out section. I like that section because you can move it up, you can stop the song at a certain point. I really like it. I wish all DAWs had this. I'm not quite sure why Luna doesn't have something like this. I really like it. So, okay, let's get into what do we do here with the plugins. Well, so we have our linear phase EQ here, and we want to use linear phase versus just a channel EQ because we don't want a whole lot of coloration going on here. We don't want a lot of like weird kind of phasey things happening in our final mix down. So that's why you want to go with linear phase EQ when you're doing your mastering here. And basically we have it set on side only. So we're only EQing the sides right now on this particular plugin. And so what did we do here? Well, I came in, I took about 40 hertz and below and just cut it out, and then gave a little bump here just to kind of bring the highs out on the sides, So it's kind of set up sort of like a V, where you have your low end, your bass kind of more in the middle, and then as you come out, you have your high end kind of out to the sides. And so that was the goal here of the side EQ. So that's what we did there. Then of course we have the mids only here. And in the mids I didn't do a whole lot. I just kind of took out a little bit of 324 just to kind of clear up a little bit, take a little bit of some muddiness out, but again, not very much. Only 1.5 dB, so not really doing a whole lot. And then not doing a whole lot in the mid-range either, just a 0.8 dB boost here in the mid-range. So let's go ahead and listen to what exactly these two plugins are doing here. And I'm going to go ahead and disable the rest of these for the moment, although not the limiter. And let's just go ahead and give these two guys a listen.
To a word I have to say, but I don't even know her now. She's got a hold on me somehow. I don't even know her now. She's got a hold on me somehow. Elizabeth and me were watching movies on.
Yeah, so very, very subtle stuff that we're doing here with the EQ. We're not going overboard at all with it. We're not even really pushing it very hard. We're not really taking a lot out. We're just kind of trying to add that little bit of polish, that little bit of just finishing touches. You know, call it what you want, the icing on the cake, the tinsel on the tree. We're just kind of trying to spruce this thing up a little bit and, you know, just add the finishing touches. So that's what we did there. Then I have this plugin here. This is the Dyne 1. This is just a compressor, just a multi-band compressor. I have it on this rich setting, which I thought sounded pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and play it, and I'll just cycle on and off. That way you can hear what exactly this plugin is doing here.
To a word I have to say, but I don't even know her now. She's got a hold on me somehow. I don't even know her now. She's got a hold on me somehow.
So yeah, to me, just sounds like it's bringing out the vocal a little bit more, maybe adding a little bit of sparkle on the high end. Again, nothing too crazy, nothing too fancy, just to spruce things up a bit. Then we have the adaptive limiter here, and we have the good old loudness meter here. And when you're using these guys, or girls if you prefer, I put these, you know, I come to the loudest part of the song, which happens to be the ending down here. I come to the loudest part of the song, and then what we're basically going to do is just going to increase the gain. Over here on the loudness meter, I shoot for -10, but that's not a set in stone thing. It's just, you know, when it comes to LUFS, there's no one particular dB I'm trying to hit. You know, -10 seems to be good, -9, -11, -12, you know, somewhere in that range kind of sound, to me, always sounds pretty nice. So that's the target that we're going to go for here. And then over here on the adaptive limiter, basically what I do is I'll just start out at, you know, 0 or maybe 2 dB, or, you know, might default, whatever it defaults at. I'll just go ahead, start cranking it up until I start to see, you know, around that -10 range over here on the loudness meter. As far as the output ceiling, I have it set to -2, you know, so basically we could crank the gain, you know, we could crank this gain all the way to 12 if we wanted to. And yeah, it'll sound awful, but it will never go above -2 dB. So let's go ahead and put that back where I had it. And then the look ahead here is just set to look out for transients, 20 milliseconds. I believe Logic kind of does this automatically, so it kind of came in at 20. I just left it sit at that. So let's go ahead and play this, and you can kind of see what I'm talking about as far as where we want to be in our range here and what the adaptive limiter is going to be doing over here.
I don't even know her now. She's got a hold on me somehow. I don't even even know her now. She's got a hold on me somehow. And I don't even know her now. She's got a hold on me so. And I don't even know her now. She's got a hold on me somehow.
So yeah, coming in at -9 there, which to me sounds pretty nice. Again, not, 10 is just kind of a guide, but -10, but it's not a set in stone thing. If it comes in at 9 and it sounds great, hey, it's going to be at 9. If it comes in at -11 and it sounds great, hey, it's going to be at -11. So I don't get too carried away with the loofs, and well, I always, you might hear people say, I always set it to here and it has to be there. I just if it sounds, whatever sounds great for the song, whatever sounds great for the mix, that's the level you want to hit, and that's where you want to be at. So that is my pseudo, the Ken Hertz mastering technique. If you want to give it a try, please do let me know how it works for you. Again, just to be competitive. It's not meant at all to replace a mastering engineer. Okay, so now the last thing I'll do here before we go ahead and bounce this track out to the computer is we just do a little automating here. And again, this isn't any kind of, there's no real formula here. It's just kind of, because of Bluetooth, I like to give my song like a 1-2 second leeway, just because sometimes with Bluetooth, you'll hit play, but then it won't start right away. It might skip a little bit. So I just try to give the song a good 1 or 2 second space there for the Bluetooth to catch up. And then that's pretty much it. So we have the volume here down to 0, and then right before the song kicks in, I brought it up just to 0 dB, just to kind of give you an idea here. Okay, so that's what's going on the front end, and then on the back end here, we just have a nice little fade out, just nice little rounded out kind of fade out here. And you can, if I come down here, in Logic, you can go ahead, I think it's Command, yep, gives you this automation curve tool. You can put a nice little curve in your automation there if you'd like. And then of course I brought it down to 0 dB here right before the song ends. And that will do it. So very last thing I would do is come up here to come to File, or come down here to Bounce. We'll go to Bounce, Project, or Section. And then you can see you can bounce this out as a WAV file. You can bounce it out as a WAV file and as an MP3 file if you wanted to. You could bounce it out as just strictly an MP3 file. I wouldn't recommend, if you're going to be sending a song to DistroKid or CD Baby, even sending your song out to something like SoundCloud, I wouldn't recommend sending them an MP3. I don't even think, in most cases, I don't think they'll take an MP3 file. You want to make sure you're bouncing out as a WAV if you're going to be sending to those platforms. And then of course you have your start time, you have your end time here. You're going to keep normalize off. You don't want to normalize if you've used your adaptive limiter. You shouldn't need to normalize, and you wouldn't want to. Okay, so then we have our WAV file. We're doing in 32-bit float. You could do 24-bit. You could do 16-bit. If you choose, I'm going to leave it at 32. Of course, our sample rate here is going to stay at 48. We're going to do interleaved. We do not want to split this file into a left and right mono channel. We want to leave it interleaved. We are not going to be doing any dithering here. And add to project. We're not going to do that. We're not going to be adding to music. So that is it, folks. When you have this all set up, you would go down here, you would click OK, and it will bounce out your track to your computer, which you could then go ahead and distribute to your music platform or music platforms of choice. And folks, that is it. That is my Mixing in the Box series. I had a lot of fun doing this series. I really wanted to get this out there. I wanted to show you my process, kind of the tips and tricks that I use that have really benefited me in my mixes and have really helped me out. So thanks for watching. If you like this video, of course, go ahead and leave me a thumbs up. If you have any questions, any comments, go ahead and drop them down below. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And once again, guys, really appreciate it. Thank you so much. I am going to leave you now with the full song, Elizabeth and Me. So enjoy, and until next time, happy mixing. See you later.
Elizabeth and me, we sit together quietly. She gets up to walk away, yeah, she abandons me. She didn't think I heard her as she got up to walk away. She says you never listen to a word I have to say, but I don't even know her now. She's got a hold on me somehow. I don't even know her now. She's got a hold on me somehow. Elizabeth and me were watching movies on TV. And as I lay beside her, there's nowhere else I'd rather be. She says I'm scared of something, so don't ever let me go. And I'm afraid of falling, so we'll have to take it slow. But I don't even know her now. She's got a hold on me somehow. I don't even know her now. She's got a hold on me somehow. Elizabeth and me, we plan to have a family, a son and a daughter and a dog who waits for me, a house with a backyard and a porch with a swing, a white picket fence, the American dream. But I don't even know her now. She's got a